let's talk about what productive struggle is. So when we talk about productive struggle is an effortful process. So particularly in mathematics, we'll focus in on mathematics. It's an effortful process where students are working through challenging problems to develop a deeper understanding of math. It's not about getting answers right quickly, but instead it's about making sense of the math, right? It's not about struggling aimlessly, but it's about working through challenges that push students' thinking forward. So when students are grappling with math ideas, that's when they're developing stronger reasoning skills, they're making meaningful connections, and that's when they're gaining confidence. Principles to Actions states that with effective teaching, they have those 8 effective teaching practices. They say that effective teaching consistently provides students with opportunities and support to engage in productive struggle as they grapple with mathematical ideas and relationships, right? It's about what leads to real understanding and not just memorization. So it's important, that last line there. It's about engaging with problems that are just beyond your current ability, but within reach, something that's within reach of students. So some resources that are helpful if you want to learn more about productive struggle, just kind of so you know some of the research base that we use. Principles to Action is always our go-to because it's a great collection of all of the best research around math. We use the 5 practices around orchestrating productive math discussions in the classroom. The Teaching Gap is an oldie but a goodie. And then cognitive science for educators is a way to really understand what the science is, the brain science is, in a way that is accessible for those of us who are not cognitive scientists. Understanding that with productive struggle, that where the learning happens is within the struggle. Oftentimes we think that struggle is a roadblock to learning. The story I always tell is that when I was in the classroom, I would often walk to the front of the class and I would look around and see a student standing there, like doing nothing. And I'd be like, why aren't you working? They're like, I don't have a pencil. And I'd be like, what happened to your pencil? And they're like, well, it's currently sitting in your ponytail there, Miss Jones. Like, it's because I was standing there, standing over them, helping them. And all of a sudden, instead of letting them struggle, I grabbed the pencil out of their hand. I started doing the work for them. And all of a sudden, I held on to their pencil. So when we think about where the learning happens, it happens within that struggle, right? Allowing them to practice that struggle allows them to engage in the math in meaningful ways. It produces the mathematical strength and perseverance, and it allows them to own the work themselves. It allows them to own the mathematical thinking themselves. So think about something that you struggled to learn at first, but now do with ease. So if you are willing, go ahead and throw into the chat something that you struggled to learn at first, but now do with ease. Sharice is an excellent line dancer. I can vouch for that. Sometimes it's easy to think outside of math and maybe even outside of education altogether. Crocheting, chess, sewing, yeah. Quilting. Donna, did you just finish the queen quilt? The butterfly. Does anybody here know how to parallel park? We oftentimes talk about driving analogies. So if we think about parking and productive struggle, I used to live in the city and I had to parallel park every day when I get home. And I remember learning to parallel park, right? At first, learning to parallel park is ridiculous, right? You can't watch somebody else parallel park and know how to parallel park. You got to get in the car and do it. But it is a struggle, right? There's a lot to keep track of. There's angles. You got to watch your mirrors, the speed. You got to pay attention to the car behind you. You might misjudge the distance you have to adjust, and you might misjudge it a couple times. You may kiss the car behind you a couple of times. But with practice and feedback, like you got to turn the wheel or have somebody telling you where to go, then you can become very, very good at this, where you get home from work and you whip into your parking spot in front of your house really, really quickly, right? But you can achieve it. It's challenging, but you can achieve it. What productive struggle is, it's within reach, it's effortful, and it builds persistence. What it is not is something that lacks clarity or appropriate support. It prevents you from making progress, or it leads to frustration and disengagement.